Hi, everybody. So I have to admit that I debated whether to show that video or not to start the presentation because I didn't want you to feel like you had to sit through a Spotify commercial. But one thing I decided to, because one thing I thought the video showed was how quickly the speed of change is happening to our business and in the overall music industry. The interesting thing is, since we made that video a few weeks ago, it's already outdated. We've actually launched in 4 more countries this month. We're now in 32, with the plan to be in over 100 countries before the end of 2014. So who are these people? Who are the people that subscribe to Spotify in these various territories? Well, we know that just over half of them are male, 56%. We know that we appeal to a younger crowd. 60% of our audience is under 29. You can see there mostly in the 18 to 24 age group. And the interesting thing is, for a lot of our users, it's the first time they've ever paid for music. This is a generation, one of the piracy generations that has been file sharing, has been benefiting from piracy for years, and Spotify is the first time they've actually paid. So a big part of our growth has been our partnerships with telcos, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. And basically, we have a variety of telco partnerships in many of our markets, and these are deals that, I'll talk a little bit about how they work, what they look like, and I'll start by giving you the benefits. You can see the various members of the value chain there, and for telcos, I'll start with the most important one. For carriers, Spotify is often a very good way to differentiate their brand. Telcos use carriers use Spotify to acquire users, retain users. We are an effective churn reduction mechanism, and then we also, we bring a certain brand uplift. Thankfully, Spotify is a brand that people like to be associated with, and so we check quite a few boxes for telcos. For us, what do we get out of these deals? Well, we get marketing and promotion, usually on a scale that we'd never be able to afford, quite frankly, on our own. We get increased ARPU, average revenue per user, because basically we're appealing to a lot of people who haven't paid for music before, and now we are getting paid for it. And we're turning these people into paying customers. Our telco partnerships are not about 3-month promotions. They're about creating a channel where we're getting people into the funnel, into the paid funnel, and we're keeping them in the paid funnel. And of course, labels and artists like this too, because any new channel that creates a premium subscriber is a good one. And what do we bring to the table? Well, with the telcos, what we bring to the table, Spotify, is 20 million tracks. We also bring a built-in audience. Spotify has 2 different products. We have a free tier, and then we also have a paid tier. And over 90% of the people that we attract to that sign up for Spotify and a telco bundle come from either a free tier or are new to Spotify. So we bring a built-in audience. And we also bring what we think is a great product, a great listening and discovery experience. What does the telco bring? Well, like I said, they bring marketing, they bring scale and reach, and they also bring us a billing channel that is a very effective means for people to pay. And a lot of the markets that we're going in, especially in the emerging markets, people don't use credit cards or they don't have credit cards, and paying on their phone bill is really the only way sometimes, other than cash, to get a service like Spotify, and telcos allow us to do this. So how do we partner? Well, there are a variety of different deals, and this slide shows you the spectrum from very light involvement, which the most basic way that we can partner with a carrier is a simple billing integration. It's basically the carrier just reselling Spotify and the customer being able to put it on their bill. The other end of the spectrum is a hard bundle. What a hard bundle is basically Spotify included in your tariff or rate plan at no extra charge. So you're a customer, you're subscribed to a tariff for, say, 50 euros. Spotify is included in it. It feels like free to the customer, but it's not free. It's actually subsidized by the telco, by Spotify, and by the label. And then the soft bundle is something, sort of a catch-all phrase we use for anything in between. And this could be something like a data bolt-on, something that is in addition to the tariff that you subscribe to. It could be paid for by the customer himself or by the telco. So there are a lot of different ways that we can work with providers, and this is and it really depends also on whether the market is predominantly prepaid, postpaid, etc. What makes these partnerships successful? Well, it really comes down to two things. The first one is that we need to be included in the mainstream, in a carrier's mainstream offering. One thing that we've learned years ago, and thankfully it was before I was at Spotify, is that if you do a telco partnership and you put it on one tariff, if you put Spotify on one tariff and the tariff is somewhere outside of the main portfolio of carrier offers, it's not going to do well. For it to really do well, it has to be a mainstream part of a carrier's marketing and a mainstream part of a carrier's offers. And close to home, one company that has done this extremely well is KPN. I don't know, is anybody from KPN in the room? Anybody? That's too bad, so I'm going to give them a nice compliment. So KPN is just absolutely, we started working with them in 2011, and I think they've absolutely crushed the marketing message. And that's a relationship that has done extremely well because it's been communicated. They've done a great job of communicating the value of what free music is with your tariff. They've done it at all levels of both the company and in their retail environment to customers. And that sort of brings us to the next thing that we need to be successful is partner alignment. Again, these deals, it can't just be someone's pet project in the product department. It has to be something that has buy-in from all levels of both the carrier and Spotify. And our partnership footprint is growing quickly. We have bundling partnerships in 14 markets. We actually launched Malaysia earlier this week. We're launching a new deal tomorrow, and we're launching one next week as well. So very, very quick progress on this front. We also have carrier billing relationships, which are, again, getting Spotify on your mobile phone, which is those are the type of deals, non-exclusive deals that we'd like to have, in theory, with every carrier. And our base continues to grow. That top line there is our growth since January 2012. What that shows is our subscriber growth through telcos. Obviously, we're going in the right direction there. What the bottom white line shows is the level of engagement. So what we found is that for people who sign up for Spotify through a telco bundle, 80% of them are monthly active users. So the engagement levels on these subscribers is very high. This is a slide that shows tells a similar story. What this shows are activation rates. So what this means is if Spotify is included with a carrier tariff, in most cases well over 50% of those people are choosing to activate Spotify, and then 80% are using it once a month, 40% are using them once a day. Again, very engaged. If they realize they have Spotify, they're using it. And this is sort of the trifecta of what we're looking for, the first two being activation, retention, and then for us, it's about conversion to paid. These bundling deals are a finite period, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, whatever the magic sort of number is in that market, and then eventually those people turn into full paid customers when it's all said and done. And that's another 80% of those people tend to stay around and become premium subscribers. I want to talk a little bit about the Netherlands and some of the effects that have been seen with KPN in this market. What KPN, if you look at that top graph, I don't know if you can see it, but 18 to 24, they had a fairly low base of users, and you can see roughly a year later with Spotify, you could see the ballooning in the curve there. So basically, what Spotify has done for KPN and for all of our telco carriers is be able to attract a younger crowd. Very attractive crowd because they have a longer lifetime value. We're getting them into the paying habit, and we're getting them early. And that's obviously something that's good for everybody. Also keeping on the Netherlands theme, you can see that streaming revenue grew 131%, almost twice the size of digital downloads. What's interesting is that after 12 years of decreases or no growth at all, in the first half of 2013, the Dutch market actually grew for the first time. And digital music is 60% of that growth. So we'd like to take all the credit for that. I think we should get some of it for sure. I think that here's subscription income, 190%. I think the main point is that the Netherlands to us, Spotify is a Swedish company, and the Netherlands looks very much like our home market of Sweden, which was a country that was ravaged by piracy. It was a country that, thanks to Spotify and thanks to a really effective telco relationship with Telia, and that in Sweden's case, was able to turn the market around and get to growth levels. So we've actually turned the business around that has really been moribund for quite a few years now. And the same thing has happened here in the Netherlands. I'd like to end by just talking about one of our most recent partnerships with Vodafone UK. Vodafone on August 29th launched a 4G service in the United Kingdom, and basically what they did, something innovative, they gave customers a choice of either Spotify for free with their 4G service or Sky Sports. And their thinking was, we want to differentiate from its very heavy 4G competition in the UK, so this was a differentiator. They wanted to target a younger base. And then they also wanted to drive ARPU. Spotify and Sky were only available on the more expensive bundles. And after 1.5 months of being live, they are just killing it. This has been our quickest telco start to date. They're supporting it, as you know, if you can see those pictures there, through all channels, a lot of network above the line, you name it. I was in London several weeks ago. It's very, very hard to miss the fact that Spotify has a partnership with Vodafone. So just another example of a company that is just using Spotify for, their own, as a fundamental component of their marketing message. And here's just some pictures showing the internal training and things. We're doing incentives at retail to get their whole field staff excited about Spotify. So in closing, I just want to say that telco is a huge priority for Spotify, telco partnerships. And the reason is very simple. They work. 4 years ago, there was a lot of hope and hype, I think, with the prospect of music bundling partnerships. And I think that we've been able to replace that with a lot of facts. I think that we now have a track record and we have a story to tell that proves that these are relationships that can work. These are deals that can work when they're done right. And telco is going to continue to be an even bigger part of our marketing, of our efforts in every market that we launch in.
Thanks, Michael.